Hello. Hello, 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 hello. Hold on. Wait, okay. Just checking my mic. That might be a little too loud. Hello, everyone. Welcome to a random stream. How is everyone doing? So yeah, as usual, it's been many months since I've streamed. I always say that I'm gonna stream more frequently, and then I don't do it. So here we are. What's up, AJK? You're the only person talking. Well, I've literally only been live for like 2 minutes. So we'll see. But I don't know. I mean, maybe no one will come to the stream. It looks like I'm already having buffering issues. But maybe that's just on my end. What's up, Brandon? What's up, Adina? Adina? Anyway, I'm doing well. Just ran some errands earlier. Um got got work to do, but decided to get a little stream in. Okay, I don't like that the chat all the names are the same color. I wonder if I could change that. I don't know. Anyway, I didn't really have anything planned for the stream. Just thought I would come and hang out for a little bit before I eat dinner. But I do have some ideas for future streams. Did I ever read something from Abdullah Asalan? No, I'm unfamiliar with that. What's that about? Would you still have made political content if you could do it all over again, or just made the content you enjoy making now? Um, would I have still made political content? I'm not sure. I think I probably would have still made political content, but it wouldn't have been the only thing I made. It wouldn't have been like the absolute focus of my existence as a creator. I probably would have just, mixed it in there whenever I actually had something to say, because it basically got to a point where it was like, like every couple weeks or every month, I was like, okay, what political thing can I make a video about now? It wasn't like me, or at least toward the end, it wasn't like, oh, I need to make a video about this because this is important. It was like, well, I have to make a video, so let's. What political topics are available? Uh, so I probably just would have been more sparing with it, like some other creators do. Like there are creators like, I mean, Big Joel comes to mind. Jose. Those are creators that um, they make occasionally they touch on political topics, but it's not the entire focus of their career. And I think that's kind of where I went wrong, and I kind of made it the focus of my career, and I got extremely burnt out on it. Jujutsu Kaisen. I don't know what that is, but I haven't been watching anything. Every now and then I will find some like random stuff to watch, but I don't. The only thing I watch is YouTube. I watch YouTube all day long, all day, every day. And I watch like Marvel shows. Uh, Definitely am not up on my anime. I don't really know much about anime at all. Have I been able to catch my breath at all lately? Yeah, a little bit. I definitely am like pretty far removed. I'm not far removed from politics in general, but I'm far removed from talking about politics on the internet. Like I'm pretty much I've pretty much come to the conclusion that the internet is not a good place to discuss politics unless you're in a very controlled situation. Um and yeah, I've just kind of been I've like rethought that whole situation. I think about it completely differently. The Kurdish Workers' Party, really interesting political theorist. Interesting. Maybe I'll check that out. How similar is Baldur's Gate 3 to playing actual D&D, considering getting it and never played D&D? Baldur's Gate 3 is exactly the same as playing D&D. It is like a visual representation of what D&D feels like to play. Well, I won't say exactly the same, but it's very similar. Um, I think Baldur's Gate 3 is good. It's going to be a really good what's the word? Symbiotic relationship. I think people who play D&D are going to be interested in Baldur's Gate 3, and I think people who play Baldur's Gate 3 are going to be interested in playing D&D. So that's good because both things are good. But yeah, Baldur's Gate is very very similar to playing D&D. You roll dice. You all of the like spells and actions and stuff you can do in Baldur's Gate 3 are taken directly from D&D. So if you have played D&D before, everything in Baldur's Gate is like very familiar. But since it's a video game, there are certain limitations, but it kind of makes you think about different things to do that you wouldn't do as much in a normal D&D game. Like I use stuff like jump and hide and stuff like that way more in Baldur's Gate than I do when I play D&D. So Would you rather fight 50 duck-sized horses or one horse-sized duck? The classic question. I don't even remember what my answer usually is. I think I have to take on the duck-sized horses. A horse-sized duck sounds terrifying, but a bunch of little horses running around, I think that'd be pretty easy. You just punt them around. What conspiracy theory do you most believe in? Uh, well, I don't know. I mean, some conspiracy theories are true, but most of the conspiracy theories that are floating around these days are pretty out there. So I don't know if I can think of one. Do I think SAG Strike will end this year? I have no idea. Um, but I will say that the screen actors and the writers are usually pretty good at getting a good deal. Like they have a really good union, and they constantly kind of explain the power of unions, or they not explain but exhibit, like they give an example of the power of unions. So I don't know when it'll end, but they'll probably get a good deal after everything is done, because uh I mean, they literally can't make stuff if they have no actors. Hi, Strange Chris. Thank you for the compliment. How do I feel about Tommy Sotomayor? Isn't that like, yeah, it's that like conservative guy, right? I mean, I don't follow him. I shouldn't really comment because I don't really know that much about him. But yeah, I just remember him being like a really weird conservative guy, right? Young people are more likely to be flat earthers. Is that true? I hope that's not true. What's my favorite way of eating potato? Uh, it's, I don't know. It's a toss up between hash browns and potato chips. I mean, fries are good too, but I think hash browns and potato chips are S tier and fries are A tier. How am I so good looking? I feel like my skin is not looking great today, but I appreciate the compliment. The answer is genetics. I was thinking BG3 could introduce me to D&D. ADD kind of discouraged me from committing to D&D. Just can't sit still and concentrate, but if I like BG3, then I might reconsider. Well, I definitely suggest that you play D&D. It's like my favorite thing to do. And I actually like D&D more than Baldur's Gate 3, which is interesting because you would think that you would enjoy being able to see what's happening and seeing all the cool designs and animations and stuff. But nothing beats just being in the moment there with your friends and using your imagination and creating moments and stuff. I think that's the best. Maybe I should do an anime channel. I actually thought about this before, like where I would do like a channel or a series where I, as a person who doesn't know anything about anime, like reacts to or reviews some of the popular animes throughout that have come out throughout the years. I don't know if that would actually, if people would actually watch that, but I also don't know how much I would like keep up with it. But it could be interesting. Do you think the idea of generations is helpful or unhelpful? I think, like most things, it is helpful to an extent, but then, the, you know, the press, the media, and just society at large takes it way too far and adds more significance to it than there needs to be. But it is definitely interesting and helpful sometimes to talk about different generations and how their experience of the world is different. Like millennials, for example, it is very significant that millennials existed both pre and post the not the creation of, but the widespread usage of the internet. Like that's a really big deal, and that definitely affects this generation and how. And I'm a millennial, so it affects how we see the world, and it definitely makes us see the world differently than Gen Z, than Gen X, than people before that. So I think it's useful to an extent. But then people like take it too long. It's like, oh, all millennials are entitled with their avocado toast and participation trophies, and all the Gen Zs are weird. They're all gay and they all have blue hair. It's like, okay, just relax. Actually, I think blue hair, that's a millennial thing, right? I was just telling my friend about your video on Alexis Rose from Schitt's Creek. She's such an interesting and complex character, and the video you did about her is really good. I appreciate that. I'm glad that that video was well received for the most part, because that was kind of one of the ones was I wasn't sure if people actually wanted to see that from me, but there's a lot of things like that where I've been telling my friends about Alexis for years. It's like, man, this character's so good. You have to watch this character's arc. So it was cool to have an opportunity to actually talk about it on my channel. That's kind of what a lot of my videos are, and you'll probably see more of that going forward. It's just me either telling stories that I've already been telling my friends and family for years, or just exploring and interacting things that I've always wanted to explore and interact with. I just came in, but the D&D tip, we had a running joke with a friend that's recently passed who just abused the hell out of hide in shadows. Oh yeah. But yeah, playing Baldur's Gate has like given me more ideas about how to play D&D, and because there's a lot of stuff in the game that doesn't get used that much. I mostly DM these days, but it still, give me some ideas. Like some of those fights in Baldur's Gate 3 are so hard, but they're still fun because they're really challenging and you have to use the terrain in the correct way. So that really gave me a lot of ideas. I think it's good you moved away from politics. And by the way, the chat's moving fast, so I'm getting behind. Eventually, I might have to skip some comments. So you can feel free to try to ask your question again if you like, but I can't guarantee that I'm going to hit every comment. Anyway, I think it's good that you moved away from politics if that's what feels right for you, but you've had some good and insightful takes over the years, and I'll miss your calm and composed voice. Yeah, I think a lot of people have said that. And a lot of it is not, a lot of it is just me. Like, I think in my video, well, no, that's not true. But it may sound like I'm saying, oh, politics is exhausting. I just hate politics. And that's part of it. But also it's just like, I don't think I'm built for it. I don't like, I think some people can live that kind of life and surround themselves with drama and conflict and stuff like that, but it's very exhausting for me and frustrating. And I did try to be a more measured voice among the chaos, and hopefully I succeeded at that to some extent. But and also there's just not that much stuff to talk about outside of just repeating the same stuff over and over again, which some people do, and that's just kind of that's fine, but that's not really what I want to do as a creator. What's up, JMB? You're in Canada. Interesting. Why are you so anti-African in our identity over here as African Americans? Anti-African? I wouldn't say that I'm anti-African. I just have no connection to Africa at all. So it's weird for people to use the word Africa when referring to me. If other people want to be referred that way, that's cool. But me personally, I just the word Africa and the place Africa kind of means nothing to me outside of me, acknowledging my ancestry, but it doesn't reflect in my personal identity in any way. So I'd rather not people talk to me like that. Tribe Called Quest or Outcast? Um, I think. I mean, I would personally have to say Outcast, but Tribe Called Quest I think is more important to hip hop. But in terms of what music do I like better, definitely Outcast. Um, a lot of people saying that they would watch the anime series. Maybe. Any thoughts on D&D 5e putting material in the Creative Commons? Thoughts on DIY gaming? I mean, I'm all for making content more accessible. Like that's, I think there are certain in many ways it makes sense for D&D to try to for them to be a little bit careful with their copyrights and stuff, but I'm all for being everything being accessible. And the beauty of D&D is you can just play. Like if people are trying to do something professionally or trying to make money off of it, that's where these things really come into play. But in your home game, just do whatever you want. Like use whatever characters and art and names and stuff. Like it really doesn't matter. Am I playing any games currently? I'm playing a little bit of Baldur's Gate 3. I was playing a lot of Overwatch, but I kind of stopped. It's kind of taking a break from that. And I was playing a lot of Street Fighter 6, but I haven't played that in a little bit either. I've been playing a lot of Scrabble lately. I've gotten really into Scrabble. I think I might do a Scrabble stream because I've just kind of been playing a lot of Scrabble online. And I'm always into like chess. I play chess a lot too. Have you ever stopped playing D&D because of anxiety? If so, how did you manage to get back into it? I stopped playing a year ago because I pressured myself to be perfect and couldn't, and now I miss it. Um, no. I mean, ever since I started playing D&D, I've pretty much been obsessed with it and haven't stopped. And it's like my favorite thing to do. So I think sometimes you can put pressure on yourself, but I think I'm pretty good at managing that because ultimately the goal of D&D is just to have fun, and as long as I'm having fun and as long as the people I play with are having fun, then I feel like I'm doing it right. And I still after every session I think about, like, I'm the DM, so after every session I think about, okay, could I have done that better? How could I improve? But at the end of the day, it was fun, so it was fine. Thoughts on Israel? Well, I always hesitate to comment on stuff like that because I think it's extremely complicated. And I think that most people who have all these hot takes on this stuff are are kind of talking out of their ass for the most part. Obviously, I mean, at the end of the day, what needs to happen is that people need to be better. I don't know if we can expect that, but obviously, terrorism and killing innocent people is a terrible thing, and I would no one like the people excusing that. I like you. Those people and I are just fundamentally different people because I don't think that sort of thing can be excused. But at the same time, um, you basically have a large state, that has essentially been bullying a smaller state. So, um, there's it's just very complicated. And at the end of the day, what the only way that I can see that it's going to be fixed is if human beings learn to show compassion for other human beings. And I don't know if we can expect that to happen. I'm a millennial working with mostly Gen Z right now. I like that Gen Z have largely social views matching what I had as a leftist, but I resent them flippantly self-diagnosing themselves. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I hesitate to generalize in any generations because I've met a lot of different people that with wildly different outlooks on how the world works. Um, and I can find something annoying about every generation. So I think people are just people ultimately. Gen Z kids are cool as hell, hoping millennial Zoomers break the generational conflict chain. It does seem like Gen Z and millennials get along better, and again, I think that is due to the internet. Like these are the two generations that grew up with the internet, so we kind of like I think we have more of a kinship than we do to other generations. At least that's part of it. That may not be the entire thing, but that's part of it. I mean, a lot of things happen, but the internet kind of amplified everything, and so we kind of went through it together. But at the same time, I have a lot of admiration for Generation X in many ways, um, and especially because I'm what you call an elder millennial. Like I'm at the upper range of millennials, so I do see eye to eye with Gen X on many things. Gen X, they seem to be a lot more like positive and like more about like you know get your shit done, don't make excuses, just you know just work hard and be positive and try to make things work. Like I respect that attitude. And it's not like the boomer attitude where it's like where they kind of lived in this whole different world where things worked out better for you and where things were set up for you to work out. It's not that sort of weird authoritative optimism that boomers have. It's a more like realistic and practical, like just work hard and make the best out of stuff. Like I feel that. Okay. I might have to skip some comments. People asking questions about anime. I told you I don't know anything about anime. I mean, I've seen Dragon Ball Z before, but I, I've seen like what they showed me growing up, um, and that's about it. Have I played? Have I ever played some other TTRPG systems? Can you give me some new GMs? Can I give new GMs some tips? Yeah, I've played a few systems. I played Vampire the Masquerade. I've played um Call of Cthulhu. I've played Kids on Bikes. I've played uh one of the Powered by Apocalypse games. I can't even remember what it's called. Uh and I've even played some like some homebrew stuff. So I played a few. New GM tips. Um, well, the first tip is what I said before. Literally, the only measure of whether you're doing it right is if you're having fun. If you're having fun, then you're doing it right. So that should be the only thing. And I think if you're brand new to GMing, you shouldn't be so worried to get everything right, because you're probably going to get a bunch of stuff wrong. In fact, you're going to get a bunch of stuff wrong for years and years and probably forever. But ultimately you get to the point where it doesn't matter, because you're just trying to have fun and tell a story and do some cool stuff. So ultimately the rules stop mattering that much. I mean, you can still follow the rules of the game. Like I still respect the rules of D&D and try to follow them. But if something seems cool or fun, I'm happy to break the rules. And B, if I like accidentally break the rules, I don't worry about it later, because it was probably fun. So the main thing is it's not that hard. Just do it and have fun, and then that's it, and just learn over time. I think, especially if you watch like D&D, like actual play content, sometimes people see these like celebrity DMs that are like really good at what they do, and it's like, man, I want to be like that. But it's like these motherfuckers have been playing for like decades. If you want to be as good as them, you have to start and just keep going. What genre of video game makes you feel the most nostalgic? What genre? I don't know, maybe RPGs? Because I play a lot of RPGs growing up, and I don't play them that much now because it's kind of a big time commitment. So sometimes I'll experience like an RPG. I don't play video games I usually have like one game that I'll play for like 3 years. Like I don't like keep up with all the new games. So sometimes I'll discover a game. It's like, oh, that kind of reminds me of what I grew up playing. Queerly Beloved, thank you for the comment. JH, thank you for the compliment. Favorite Smash Bros. My favorite Smash Bros is actually Smash Bros Ultimate, the most recent one. What class do you play in D&D? I normally am the DM. When I'm not the DM, I just play kind of all different classes. I have a lot of different ones I like to play. What's what's my favorite support or side character in Baldur's Gate 3? You mean like the playable characters? Because I don't like any of them actually. Actually, I like Lae'zel. Lae'zel's cool. I mean, she's kind of like a hard ass, and she always wants me to do immoral stuff, but she's cool. Some of us as black people who are into nerd culture, such as myself, there seems to be an anti-black sentiment among us. Have you experienced that? I don't know if I've personally experienced it, but I can conceive of that. Um, but I don't know. I mean, generally like the sort of quote unquote nerd communities that I've been a part of that include black people, it seems to be pretty positive overall. But maybe you can give me more of an example. I can see that sort of thing happening, but I don't know that I've experienced it. I miss the pregame streams. Yeah, man. Old school. Yeah, those were wild. Every now and then I like open up those old streams. They're still available on my channel. They were, they were fun. Tried D&D once. My friend played a gnome, so I summoned a lawnmower, and I think that frustrated him. You summoned a lawnmower? what what class has summon lawnmower as a spell? Does anyone feel connected to Gen X, or do we still just forget they exist? I mean, sometimes people say that Gen X is the forgotten generation, but if you grew up in the 90s, you remember them talking about Generation X all the time. So it's just as time goes on, even like millennials, people aren't really talking about millennials as much as they used to. It's all about Gen Z. So, but like I was saying before, I do have I feel a little bit of kinship with Gen X because I'm the elder millennial. So I'm like on the borderline. What will your typical day be like in 5 years? What's up, Tazon Day, by the way? Um, I don't know. Hopefully, just relaxing and making good content, and maybe even helping others produce their content. I think that would be cool. But you know, right now, the main things I do is make content and play D&D, and it's pretty chill. So if I could just keep doing that while being able to take care of everything I need to take care of, that'd be pretty cool. Um, I think eventually I might want to expand into like production and helping other people achieve their visions, but we'll see if we get there. You're the one with Abe saying follow me in the beginning of your vids. Yeah, yeah. I don't think it was in my last couple of vids. I've been trying like different formats, but yeah, that is kind of one of the memes of this channel. Have I ever heard of the documentary Black Shadows on the Silver Screen? Uh, I have not. You tried to reach out a little bit ago. Like, did you email me? What's up, Barba? When I was 5, I asked an acquaintance of my parents to get such a dark tan. I genuinely thought that's why some people had darker skin at that age. How'd you handle that question from a 5-year-old? Like, how would I handle that question? I don't know. I I don't really I'm not an expert on how to interact with children. Um I mean, my approach would be to just try to explain it, and I've always in my like limited experience with children, I just like talk to them like I would talk to anyone else for the most part, and that seems to go well. Like I feel like people kind of um underestimate children a lot. So my approach would be to just try to explain it in literal terms. I don't know if that would work, but that's what I would do. I agree with that anti-black sentiment for black nerds. Had a girl that used to do Renaissance fairs that hated me for no reason. We were the only two black people. Oh, so were we talking about anti-black sentiment from the non-black people in the community, or are we talking about anti-black sentiment from the black people in the community? I may have misunderstood the question. Not that I've really experienced anti-black sentiment. I don't think, but I'm not like super deep into those communities. But I don't know. I've kind of avoided a lot of the toxic aspects of the of nerd culture. Um, I think like gamers are pretty can be pretty trash, like video gamers, but I don't really interact with the gamer community that much. So, but like in terms of like D&D community and just a bunch of other shit that I'm into, um, I haven't really experienced that. I don't think D&D stream when. I don't know. Maybe I should do. I every time I do a live stream, everybody wants to talk about D&D, which is cool. I just didn't think that people cared about it, or not cared about D&D, but cared about me talking about D&D. So maybe I should do some D&D content. Boy Meets World is what brought me to your channel. Love those vids. Love those vids. How hard is it for someone to make a video thesis about a popular pop culture program I might love? How hard it for someone to make a video thesis? I don't know if that's a question or if you're just commenting. I can't tell. Um, but yeah, when I don't know, when I've done those, I've done a few videos about just shows that I like, and usually they are stories that I already have been wanting to tell. So it's not really that hard to do because like I already know the story, and I already know I'm already like excited to tell it. So like the Boy Meets World, I did 2 Boy Meets World videos, one about Sean and Angela, one about Eric Matthews. And it's, I love those stories, so they were pretty easy to tell. Did you download from Napster back in the day? I discovered a lot of different artists there. I didn't use Napster, but I did use LimeWire and Kazaa all the time. I kind of missed. I think by the time I discovered Napster, it had already like they'd already cracked down on it. But by that time, there was a bunch of them like LimeWire and Kazaa and BearShare, and there was another one I forgot. It started with an S, I think. And then of course there's stuff like and then there's like once torrents came into play, So yeah, there was a lot of stuff. Maybe I should start my D&D channel because everyone is asking about it. I got a $1,000 bill from Napster when I left for college. Damn. My mom told me she is black walnut, daddy is peach, and I'm honey brown. That's how race was explained to me at age 2. Interesting. Yeah, I mean it's an interesting thing to hear, A, from white people and A, from mixed race people, and just, people from different kinds of families. And yeah, I just don't remember having those conversations growing up, I don't think. I grew up mostly around black people, and I didn't really start hanging out with white people until high school and then especially in college. So I think I just kind of, I don't know. It's possible there was a conversation. I just don't remember it. From the black people, okay. That's what I thought. I was just making sure. But yeah, I haven't seen that too much. I'd be interested to hear the stories about that. In my friend group in college, when we went to Comic Cons and anime cons, there was a real dislike for our people who were there that they described as hood. Yeah, that's what I figured was what you're talking about. And like I said, I could see that maybe, but I don't think I've seen it personally. Yeah, I don't know. I do sometimes wonder how those kinds of people are what am I trying to say? How white people react to those people? Going back to the generation thing, I think that's something that Gen Z is a lot better at as well. Is they kind of take people as they are, and you're seeing a lot of different cultures intermix in Gen Z that I you wouldn't expect from older generations. Like you might see like a quote unquote hood black dude hanging out with the squarest white dude, and it's just cool. Like you didn't see that too much when I was growing up. So I think that's pretty cool. Prince or Michael Jackson? I mean, they're both geniuses, but if I had to pick, I would pick Michael Jackson. Uh like I think I like 95% of Michael Jackson songs. The percentage is a bit lower for Prince, but the Prince songs that are good are, genius. Lennon or McCartney? Well, I don't know. That's actually hard. I think I like more Lennon songs though. Do I still hate Sam Harris? I never said that I hated Sam Harris. It's pretty interesting how people kind of how people take certain things from a video. But I haven't really I don't really keep up with Sam Harris content anymore, so I'm somewhat indifferent to Sam Harris these days. But I definitely never said that I hated him. I said that I used to be a fan and I'm not a fan anymore, or at least not as big a fan. And I criticized his rhetoric about Islam, but that was about it. Do have an issue with the oversaturation of European culture and East Asian culture in a lot of nerd culture such as D&D and Baldur's Gate, even though there are many other cultures to draw from. Do I have an issue with it? I don't know if I have an issue with it, but I think it's better. I think it would be better if the stories were more diverse, but the way that you get more divorce the way that you get more diverse stories is by getting more diverse storytellers. So it's kind of an easy fix. Like I don't expect nor desire, for example, I don't want Western people to write stories about non-Western cultures. I don't need that to happen. I don't really require like I don't really desire that to happen because it's probably going to come out pretty awkward. So just need more storytellers, and I think we are getting more as time goes on. But sure, and that's the beauty of D&D is you get to do it yourself. Like you know, obviously some D&D tables are broadcast or some games have a larger platform, but we all can use these storytelling tools to tell whatever stories are important to us. Soul Seek, that's what it was called. Soul Seek. Sam Harris the atheist. Yes. He is an atheist among other things. Can anyone produce a video like your Boy Meets World video? Is it hard? Well, if you don't have any background in like making a video, it would probably be hard from scratch. I mean, there's a lot of like But if you already know how to make videos, then it wouldn't be that hard. And it wasn't that hard for me because I kind of already knew what I wanted to say. Um, but I mean, video production is a combination of many skills: writing, editing, performing, videography, and all kinds of stuff like that. And most of which I don't really think I'm that good at, but I'm I'm good enough to make a watchable video. Um, and I got to that mediocre point over many years of learning how to do it. Is that the real? Yeah, he's got a check mark by his name. Tay stops by the stream a lot. Tay Zonde is the homie. What kind of druid would I be if I exclusively wanted to just sling nature-based spells? I don't know much about D&D, but I'm interested in the class. I mean, that's pretty much what a druid is for the most part. I mean, I think you have a lot of options because that's kind of what druids do. All of their spells are pretty much nature-based. So I think you can be pretty creative and customize it to your liking because pretty much any druid will be good at slinging nature-based spells. I remember my mom being embarrassed me for pointing out the brown man when I was 3. Yeah, I feel like I can remember doing something like that maybe where I just made an awkward comment about someone being a different color than me. But I don't remember that there was a conversation after. I don't know. Am I into anime? And if you are, do you think most anime characters look white? Why does no one talk about this? Um, well, I'm not super into anime. I don't really keep up with anime. I don't know that much about anime. But I do know that a lot of Asian cultures still sort of uphold whiteness and European beauty standards as kind of the ideal. So that could be a reason why most anime characters look white. But I don't know if it's true that most anime characters look white. Maybe they do. It's hard to tell because they're cartoons. But like from their perspective, I'm almost positive that when Japanese people watch anime, they see the characters as Japanese and not white. So it could just be a sort of cultural bias. Am I a fan of Abe's Odyssey? Oh yeah, amazing game. Yeah, if you're a beginner to making videos, you have to give yourself some time to improve. I mean, you should definitely, go out there and try some things, but don't expect to be amazing the first go around. It took me like 10 years to even become decent. And I still think I'm pretty mediocre, so but that video is people seem to like that video, so that's good. Do I find it easier or harder to come up with content since I stopped the political stuff? It's definitely easier to come up with ideas, but it's harder to come up with ideas that people will watch. And that's just something I'm going to have to figure out as time goes on. Like my last video, for example, I think it's one of the most fun I've had, one of the most fun times I've had making a video. and I think it is my most, I won't say like well edited, but it has the coolest editing out of any video I've ever made. But it absolutely bombed. Nobody watched it. So that's pretty disappointing. And if that keeps happening, then I might have to like reconfigure some things. I'm hoping that I can find some ideas and make some videos that people will still watch, um, that I still enjoy making. But we'll see if I'm able to do that. I feel like this chat is unreadable. Why are the colors? Hold on a second. Wait, I believe I can I forget how to do what I'm trying to do. I should be able to alternate the chat, like, but I don't know. I should have did that before the stream. My bad. Anyway, did I have a dinosaur phase as a kid? I didn't have like a super big dinosaur phase. I mean, I still think dinosaurs are cool, and I've always thought they were cool, but I don't think I was ever like obsessed with them like some kids are. But I like it. I liked it. Um, is there an issue in putting black people in historical films and video games in Europe, but not in places like Africa, as if we don't have a history before the? I guess that's the slave trade. Is there an issue? I mean, I don't know. Like again, it kind of goes back to if you want, if you want more accurate and more diverse stories, you just need more diverse storytellers. So we just need more people with ties to Africa or with knowledge of Africa to make films and video games and stuff. But I don't think I'm losing sleep over that issue. I'll tell you that. But would it be would it be cool to see more stuff like that? Sure. Do I think evil is real and objective or more subjective? I mean, it's a hard question to answer because the word evil is inherently subjective. Um, do I think that people are, you know, are there like inherently evil people? I don't think so. Are there does evil exist? Sure. Like people have done evil things. Absolutely. So obviously evil is real, but if you're asking, do I think that some people are just evil, like inherently or unchangeably evil? I don't really believe that. I thought some druids mainly just focused on shape shifting. Yeah. I mean, I guess I considered shape shifting into animals still a nature based spell, but maybe that's not what you're talking about. But yeah, there are certain subclasses of druids that do focus on uh wild shape or shape shifting into animals. It does get in higher levels you can shape shift into like actual elementals, which is like OP. But yeah, I just kind of included that as nature-based spells. But yeah, you can choose whether to focus on your actual spells or you can choose to focus on shapeshifting. But there's just like one subclass, I think, that focuses on the shapeshifting and the others just interact with spells in different ways. Watching Boy Meets World for the first time with my partner who has seen it multiple times. So what can I expect? I mean, I don't know. There's a lot going on. I think so. The first two seasons are kind of weird. They kind of established a universe, but they're different than the rest of the show. Boy Meets World really becomes Boy Meets World in season 3, and Boy Meets World doesn't become like a great show until like, well, I think the first season of Boy Meets World is really good, but it's just so different from the rest of the show that it's hard to even qualify it. But I don't think the show becomes like really great until like the 4th season. That's when kind of everything kind of comes into its own and the show like really knows what it is. And the show is just about the friendships and relationships of a bunch of teenagers. Like that's basically all it is. But it's a very like, it's a positive show, but it's like kind of, it gets real sometimes. I don't know. It's just, it's like a 90s sitcom, but it's not quite as corny as the other shows that were on around at the same time. Like they found a way to make it feel like very real for the, you know, as real as a TV sitcom for teenagers can get. Have I heard about Sniper Wolf doxing Jack's films after his videos criticizing her TikTok reactions? If so, thoughts? I don't know. I have like a hot take about that. I have heard about that. So first of all, like you shouldn't dox people. I don't know what the hell she was thinking. Like, don't do that. Like, what the hell? That's so weird to me. Like, it seems like she has been a content creator long enough to understand that that's not okay. So that makes me think that maybe that was intentional and maybe she was trying to intimidate him, which I think is, you know, that's, first of all, you know, that's probably illegal. And second of all, you know, don't do that. It's just bad. But at the same time, and here goes the take that nobody seems to agree with, Jack has been going way too hard on this. Like, this man made a full YouTube channel devoted to making fun of this one person, and he posted on it like multiple times a week. I guess he still posts on it. Like that reminds me pretty strongly of like in, you know, 2015, 2016, when these like anti-feminist dudes were making channels about specific women that they didn't like and making like dozens and dozens of videos on them and such, sending their audiences to go harass these women. Like that is scarily similar to that, even though it's not necessarily about like feminism or anything like that. It's scarily similar to that. It's borderline, if not just straight up harassment. And if it's not harassment, it's just cringe. And it kind of soured my taste in Jack's films a bit, because it's like, why are you doing this? And, you know, she accused him of sexism because it's like, she's like, oh, you criticize me. You know, there's so many react channels out there, and you're only talking about me because I'm a woman. And it's true that Jack's film it's true that he has criticized other creators who aren't women, but he has not gone this hard against any other creator that I've seen. And so I I don't want to act like I can read Jack's mind, but it is very hard to believe hard for me to believe that he would be going this hard if she wasn't a woman. I don't know. But the doxing part, it's like she took it to a whole new another unnecessary level, and now people's safety, like personal safety, is in danger and stuff like that. And I don't know what, like, I think she may have been legitimately trying to intimidate him, and she kind of took it to another level. So it's like any like sympathy that we have for you, you're like kind of destroying it by doing stuff like that. So that's my take on the Sniper Wolf situation. I understand that you don't identify with Africa in general, but then what separates us as black people from whites in the United States? They separated us because of our African ancestry. Um, well, I don't need I don't need to call myself African in order to acknowledge the fact that the experience of being black in America is different than the experience of being white in America. That's there. Me saying African doesn't affect that in any way. Um, and I also don't like. It's not like super important to me to single myself out or to separate myself. Like I'm just trying to live really. But you know the difference is you just call me, just say black, like that's the same. I don't need to tie myself to some ancestry in order to separate myself. It's just it's already painfully obvious that the experience is different, and we already have other words that don't awkwardly associate me with a country I've never been to and really have no plans to go to, or not a country but a continent. Asian as a whole have the idea of tan skin being associated to field labor, and a whiter skin means you work inside a building in a better job. Yeah, that's true as well. That's part of it for sure. Sorry if the stream is messing up. Of course, the first time I stream in many months, it doesn't work. It's just trash internet, bro. Spectrum is trash. Is there a final prime number? I mean, obviously, I don't know, but it seems like we keep finding new ones every few years. So maybe you have to use a lower bit rate. So a Japanese kid watches Naruto and thinks Naruto looks Asian. I'm almost positive they do. Yeah. Are we talking D&D in here? Well, we did at one point, but I'm happy to talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. Sorry, I don't. I'm trying to see if I can fix what's going on with my stream here. It looks like, did it like kick a lot of people off or something? The viewers like dropped in half. Um, I believe most kids in US think that Homer Simpson looks white. The traits viewers assign to characters are differential, not absolute, for sure. I believe anyone who doesn't like Black Dynamite is evil. Doesn't evil mean supernatural? Well, that's what I was talking about before. Evil means different things depending on how you define it. What's actually in a dreadlock? It just kind of looks like a mass of hair to me. Well, it depends on how they're formed, but mine are just masses of hair. Um, so when you have like really curly, coarse hair and you leave it alone, it gets matted up. I think a lot of people have experienced that. It just mats up and just uh you know, that's why people comb their hair to prevent that from happening. If you just leave it alone, it will just get all crumpled up together and mat up. And if you leave it alone for extended period of times, it starts to get like this. Now, of course, some people don't want to wait years and years for this to happen. So there are products that you can put in there to, make it stick together basically. So yeah. So for me, it is literally just a mass of hair. And, things like probably dirt and lint probably gets in there too that adds volume to it. Um but and maybe even like moisture and like air. I think there's all kinds of stuff in there. But yeah, essentially it is a mass of hair. Am I that far behind? I know I'm behind on the chat. The chat has moved along, but I don't know where I'm at right now. I also think that the my internet is messing up, so I think it may have lagged it behind. Have you ever seen Gravity Falls? I've seen a little bit of it, not a lot. It was good though. What's a good horror show slash film you recommend? I don't watch a lot of shows or movies, but whenever someone asks for a good horror movie, I always recommend It Follows. I think that's one of the best horror movies I've ever seen. And it's a movie that I think it's not like underrated, but I think a lot of people have not seen it. It's less Sniper Wolf being a woman and more that YouTube actively promoted her. Plus, she insulted him personally a while ago. However, I do agree he should mix in other reactors like XQC. I also have maybe it's also a hot take that React content isn't that big a deal. Like, I can see, I can see like, Jack made this video a while ago about this dude named Jinx who like completely deleted his channel after the negative publicity. But Jinx used to, and people still do this, but he used to just play a video on his channel and just sit there silently and watch it. Like XQC does that sometimes, just silently watching a video in full, and that's the content. I get that. That's I get why you might be mad at that. That's just, you're just taking someone's content. But Sniper Wolf doesn't do that. Sniper Wolf does react to the content. It maybe the reactions aren't as substantive as Jack or someone else would like, but she does react to the content. And I think, for example, I think if Jack took, or I think if anyone who Sniper Wolf reacted to took her to court, I think she would win, because she's clearly adding her personality and content and reactions to the video. Sure, it's not that substantive, but that doesn't matter, you know. We don't have to like everything that we see, but just because we don't like it doesn't mean it shouldn't exist, you know. So I think people are already going too hard about this. Like, reaction content is honestly, it's like one of the foundational, like, lifebloods of YouTube. I don't think YouTube would be where it's at without reaction content. And I know for a fact that people find value in reaction content. Even myself, sometimes I like to see the reaction of a creator that I like to something more than I want to see the thing. Like, I've experienced that myself. So I think this crusade that Jack has against all react content is a bit misguided in general. I mean, I can see certain people are pretty bad where they just literally provide no transformative value whatsoever, but I don't know if I agree that Sniper Wolf does that. So I don't know. I could be wrong. What hip hop artists do I listen to? I don't keep up with music. I don't know. I'm at that old age where I'm like out of touch with pop culture. But the most recent ones that I like are like Logic and Joyner Lucas and Chance the Rapper, but I don't know how recently they've actually made something. So, because I don't really keep up. Did I watch mid-90s sci-fi? I think the only 90s sci-fi I watched was Star Trek: The Next Generation. I used to watch Dark Angel as well, but that was mainly because I had a crush on Jessica Alba. Pickles or no pickles with your burger? Definitely pickles. Always wanted to play D&D. It looks fun. You should. Yeah, I don't know, this stream, I'm gonna have to change my internet service because I have a lot of issues with Spectrum. Unfortunately, I think it's like the only option I have outside. I think I can get AT&T, but it's like way slower. It kind of sucks how internet service providers basically like establish monopolies for themselves. It's pretty whack. I have no options. So I apologize if the stream is lagging. It may continue to lag. That's probably why everyone left. Have I heard updates on the Community movie? I have not. You know, I never got a chance to see the D&D movie. I wanted to see the D&D movie, but I just never got around to it, and then I just kind of forgot about it. Thanks for stopping by, Trevor. Um, I hadn't heard about her until this heated up, and I'm surprised she has so many subscribers. I don't see the appeal for her personally. Well, I mean, that's the beauty of different audiences. Sometimes you're just not the target audience for something, and that's okay. That doesn't mean that it's bad or it doesn't need to exist. You're just not the target audience. But I actually do remember Sniper Wolf from way back in the day. She used to be I think she used to play Call of Duty or something like that. But then there was some kind of controversy where I don't know if it was confirmed or if it was just assumed that she wasn't the actual one playing the game. Like it was like her boyfriend or husband that was playing, but she was the face of it, which I don't really know the story behind that, but anyway, she eventually moved to like this React style, and that's kind of what blew her up. I remember watching her blow up. Like she went from like a million subscribers to like 10 million in like a year or something. Like it was crazy. Opinions on British people in quotes. Are you implying that British people aren't people? Yeah, my internet is just messing up right now. And this always happens. I feel like I should be able to like I don't know, I feel like Spectrum owes me money because they don't provide the thing that I pay for.